Oh no.
Hey guys, so in this video, this is from my past competition at the Fork, which is in Tryon, North Carolina, and this is with Lee, and he's doing another 4-star. Well, he went to Pine Top, which was advanced, and then he did Carolina, which was a 4-star. And both those two, we had a couple of mistakes and had 20 penalties on cross country. So coming to the Fork, it was really important that I was able to get around cross country clear, but we have certain requirements for qualifications that we have to do in order to compete at certain levels, and one of those is for at least one event you have to have a clean cross country. In planning my horses' schedules, I have what I'm leading up to, which is their long competition, their 3-day long. So for Lee, again, it was really important that we had a nice clean go, even if that meant I went a little slower on cross country, but I really needed this as a qualification because I knew Kentucky, which again, I had another opportunity to possibly get it clear, but I'd rather kind of have my qualifications and then not have to worry about it at Kentucky, which could be a little bit more difficult course. I had a couple of options to choose from with which events kind of I headed to, and took into consideration was footing. So in knowing Tryon and how they prepare their footing, it holds up pretty well, and the horses that every time my horses have run there, they've recovered really well after. So really important kind of in the lead up events heading to our long format that the prep runs that we choose are beneficial to the horses. So I had some pretty good questions out on the cross country, and if you guys know, with Lee, we've been working on some homework with our accuracy with that left side, and so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And special footage for my Patreon, some video of Ginger, of my last ride on her. So here's Lee, and I'm preparing him before I go into the arena. And you can see I'm just working on settling him a little bit. Again, the temperatures had dropped in North Carolina, and I find that this arena for my guys can be a little difficult, especially without a crowd, because what you can't see is the grandstand on the left side, and it gets pretty echoey. And we also have a bunch of competitors and stuff because there's 1,000 things going on at Tryon, so it's a lot of things to kind of distract and stray the focus. But for Lee, when he gets a little uptight, he gets a little bit more wiggly. So that center line, you can see I lost his haunches through the halt, but he is getting stronger, and his shoulder end's a little bit steadier now than it was last year. So I've been happy with that improvement. And now I'm going to do a half pass, which that was pretty good. Lateral work, he's such a nimble horse that the half passes are pretty easy for him. And now we turn, and we're coming for a halt at C, and he kind of ignored me for a minute, and then we didn't quite get up square, and then we were supposed to do 5 steps back and then directly into trot, and then again shoulder in starting at R, and then we do a half 10-meter circle at P. Again, that was fairly consistent. And then a half pass back to R. And again, he was just a little tight feeling. So I'm just trying to get him to open his neck, relax a little bit. Going for a walk transition was fairly good. And normally at the walk, when I can push him a little bit more, I'm having to be a little bit more tactful in my walk. I'm not able to kind of push as much because he's a little bit more on the sensitive side which is what I'm feeling. So now I'm going into my extended walk, which again, I always kind of want the nose to go up and out a little bit more. And he tends to kind of break a little further behind the pole, which is always something I've been working on, getting him stronger through his top line and his back. But he stayed obedient enough. And then we go into a canter transition, which I had a really good one at Carolina, but that you could see he kind of went a little hollow for that transition. And then we go directly into a flying change, which can be a little difficult, and we were late behind, so that got docked to a 4, so I lost some points there. And then into our canter half pass. That was okay. Again, I'm having to kind of manage all the moving parts. He feels very wiggly. On the video, it looks a lot better than it felt, honestly. And then we did our medium canter. Just not quite as settled as he was at Carolina. And now working for the change left to right. And I asked, and he kind of ignored my aid a little bit. And I was like, buddy, come on. We gotta get the change. But at least that one was clean. And now we go into our second half pass. And now transition to trot, which sometimes can be difficult for the advanced horses because they always want to do a walk. But he was pretty good there. And then to our extended trot, which that's getting stronger and stronger. And then coming down the central line for our final halt. So he made me work for it a little bit more in this test, but we put in a good solid score of a 33.7. And that put us in 22nd out of about 40 horses. Comes in there like that. Ooh, you got a nice ice thingamabobber. They're firm, not melted. It is warm, so they were protected with this little life jacket, little cool coat that it got. See, look, 100% guilt-free. All of the, oh, that one's my favorite. Look at raspberry chocolate was on top. I'm always really excited when my Built Bar box comes because it's basically a box of candy, or it tastes like that anyways. I mean, these are the next level protein bars. I'm really always just mystified with how they do it because the consistency of these bars, the size, the texture, the taste, it's always super great. And I can trick my brain into thinking that I'm having candy when in fact I'm having a high protein, gluten-free, and low-calorie nutritional profile snack. So the variety of flavors is pretty much my favorite thing to go through when I have the new bars that come in. And you see we got the mint chocolate brownie, we've got the double chocolate, you've got salted caramel, you got cookies and cream, cherry Garcia, coconut almond. The raspberry is pretty much my favorite. Also, what's pretty neat about Built Bar is if you do get the box, you can actually customize the flavors that you put in it. So pretty neat to be able to do that. And all the flavors are pretty spot on. I've been really pleased with the addition of Built Bar to my nutritional program, with the bars kind of averaging around 130 calories, 17 grams of protein, and 4 grams of sugar. So pretty. Yay. Yummy Built Bars. Now, what's a little different about coming to try on, or the fork, is that they have lights. So this competition day seemed like it went on forever. And Lee's show jump was at 8. I think it was like 8:15 I ended up riding at. 8:30. He felt super good under this atmosphere, really jumping well. And it's a really great opportunity to get to ride in this. And we're coming down the triple. And again, I just feel like he's really stepping up to the occasion, jumping really well. And so I'm just trying to make sure I keep going forward. Unfortunately, on this course, I actually rode a little slow. I needed to ride a little bit tighter lines as the course designer really had this tight. And I rode a little backwards to that oxer. And then in doing so, I ended up having this rail down, which was too bad. And then we come to this line, and he jumps it really well. but then unfortunately the battery on my phone died. We ended up having 2 rails in a couple of times, but I was super pleased with how he felt. Now on to cross country. Again, my goal was to have a nice clean round. I wanted to be a little close to the time, as this is a conditioning also for them, but I wanted to make sure I got through this cross country without any mistakes. So he's jumping really well. It might be a little hard to see through the video with the trees, as this is fairly zoomed in, but we're heading now to the corner combination where I angled that corner, and I ended up adding in the 5 strides there. And there was a direct route in a straight 4, but I felt like because it was the left-handed corner, I didn't really want to take the chance, so I did a point of turn, and he handled that really well. So we crossed that bridge, which that bridge, I don't like heights, and that always freaks me out when I cross that bridge. And heading to this stone fence, and it doesn't look like it on the video, but it felt like he jumped a million miles in the air. Again, he makes it look fairly simple, but it felt huge. And now coming to this cute little bee jump, it actually had a fairly large ditch, and he gave a little bit of a peek, but I made sure that I had a good gallop coming to it. And now we have a rather large house that I'm coming up to. I see a good stride. He jumps that really well and easily. He's really starting to feel nice and confident. You see his ears are nice and pricked forward. And now coming to a small chevron fence, and then heading into the water. I want to make sure I have a good balance and slip the reins. And he could have used his neck a little bit more, but I wanted to make sure I have the balance here because I have another corner. And he handled that really well. And now we have to power up this hill, as we have another set of narrow fences, which were pretty easy for him. And I kept coming up here to that chevron fence in the 7, and then I had to balance to another corner, which again was a right-handed corner, so I felt pretty confident about that. And then heading back to the water, which was this house, and he jumps in, and I got just a little caught off balance. I have to work on making sure my core is strong enough there, because I thought I had it and then lost a little bit of balance there. But had to do a little correction so he didn't run up underneath that big house. And here's a little bit different camera angle, so you get to see kind of a different side of it. We're going to be dropping into the water again here, and then heading to that corner, and you can see kind of how tight it is to fit through that corner, and he just jumped it really great, super straight. Really pleased there. And again, I'm going to gallop up that hill to those narrows. And this actually section here walked in an 8, but I planned on doing it in the 7. You'll see I kind of push on to that chevron there, and then had to really kind of balance coming to this corner. And I thought I was going to hit the flag, so I kind of tossed my body a little bit over to the right so I could keep him to the left, and I was able to keep the flag up. And then heading to the house again, you'll see me collapse a little bit right there. Again, that's fitness. As riders, we have to always work on so we can stay nice and balanced for our horses. And then we're going to go head across that bridge. Those bridges can end up taking up some time because you have to slow down a little bit and make sure that you're balanced going through them. And so you're just going to see us coming through these trees right here. And these are the squirrels, which they were on a bending line, and I did that more direct in the 4, and he did that perfectly because he's feeling super confident. And now coming just to a single kind of skinny fence here, and it was kind of funny because I was trying to settle for the deeper distance, and then he locked onto the other fence, and then we got right up underneath the skinny, so I had a little bit of a panic moment almost. But we sorted it out, and in my helmet cam, I told him that he had to listen, but he just almost over listened to me. Did the 4 to the 4s and the table really nicely. And then he finished up doing the final last water, and then going up the hill, and he recovered super well. That we ended up having our clean round, so we got our qualifications, and I was really pleased with how his confidence was and how he felt. So I'm really excited and heading to Kentucky in a couple of weeks. So the next couple of weeks are going to be really exciting, and I'm going to try to get as much video as I can. So if you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, and click the little bell so you don't miss the video. Alright, thanks guys for watching the video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and for my Patreon, stay tuned for what's coming up next.